How you doing, everybody? Jonathan here, and in this video I'm going to go over a topic that can help you to keep your client retention high. It can also ensure that your clients see great results as a result of your training. That topic is going to be the 4 measurements that you want to take for each client that most trainers tend to neglect or take improperly. Now, before I go over this topic, I definitely recommend that you sign up for the newsletter. The newsletter is going to be filled with lots of information to keep you abreast of all the information that I have, and some of it might not make it onto YouTube. So I only send it on Mondays. I don't spam you guys. I definitely recommend that you sign up by going to www.jonathanfitpro.com/newsletter. Or you can click on the iCard in the upper portion right there, and then it will give you the link to the webpage where you can sign up for the newsletter. I would personally say that you can throw that number out the window. Now, there are 4 markers that I do think are important, and let's go over them now. Now, the first test that you should be taking with your client is definitely your body fat percentage, because the body fat percentage gives your client an idea of how toned they are. And when you explain it to your clients in this manner, I think that it's something that they can wrap their heads around. And you can take the body fat with a number of different methods. My preference is going to be the bioelectric impedance, all right, with an Omron body fat monitor, and these run for about $30, very, very reasonably priced. And the body fat monitor is great as long as your client isn't wearing an internal heart regulating device such as a pacemaker, or the client is pregnant. Those are the 2 instances where you wouldn't want to use this device. Otherwise, this is going to be a great option for your clients to get an idea of where they are. Now, you are required to hop on the scale, as the scale weight is going to be part of the calibration algorithm that this device uses to calculate your body fat percentage. But when the scale goes up or down, you can always tell your client, listen, let's first get the body fat percentage, because that's what's going to tell us how toned you are. The scale can change up and down 5 to 10% over the course of a day, so let's make sure that we're more toned. And as long as we're more toned, we look better in the mirror, we look better with our clothes on and off, and we're making sure that we see progress regardless of the weight. And this will give you a clearer idea of how much closer you are to your six-pack than the scale ever will. Clients often ask me about their BMI, but the BMI chart is an inefficient way to determine your client's fitness, mainly because it's just a ratio between your height and your weight. You may or may not know that the BMI chart was actually developed in the 1800s by a mathematician, not a physician. And this was done in order to give the government an easy way to calculate obesity so they can allocate their resources properly. However, the BMI chart doesn't always give a good idea of what is obese versus what's fit. Let's go to an example. Now, first, we're going to start off with the NFL first overall draft pick for 2015, quarterback from Florida State, Jameis Winston. He is 6'4" and 227 pounds. So, based on the calculation for the BMI, his BMI is 27.6. Now, mind you, this says that Jameis Winston is overweight. Now, let's compare Jameis Winston's physique to Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens is about 6'3" and 220 pounds in this picture. And as you can see, although he's more defined, his BMI is actually higher. So if your client was just going to go off of BMI, are they to assume that Jameis Winston is in better shape than Terrell Owens? Are we to assume that both of these athletes should be considered as obese? No, that's not the case, and that's the flaw with the BMI chart. Now, the next measurement that you should be taking with your clients is your waist circumference. Your body is made up of water, fat, carbohydrates, proteins, and various vitamins and minerals. Now, if you accumulate too much fat, especially in the midsection, you're more likely to suffer from diabetes, high blood pressure, and stroke. So you definitely want to make sure that you take your client's waist circumference. In addition to the aesthetics, you want to make sure that your client is at a low risk for metabolic disease. And this is an easy way, especially during the sales process, to explain to your client that, listen, you should be much healthier. Your waist circumference should be much lower. You shouldn't be surrounding your vital organs with that much adipose tissue, that much fat. So the American Heart Association recommends that males have a waist circumference less than 40 inches. Females have a waist circumference of less than 35 inches. I will go so far as to say males 35 and under, and females under 30 inches. But again, very inexpensive. You can get these for about $5. A tape measure is very easy to carry, and it's very easy to take this measurement. So this is something that you don't want to miss out on. Now, the next measurement that you want to test is going to be blood pressure, because high blood pressure can exist without symptoms, and having high blood pressure greatly increases the risk of heart disease and stroke. And the last thing you want to do is put a high-risk client through a high-intensity workout where their heart isn't ready for this kind of conditioning. You can essentially get an Omron blood pressure monitor. You can get these things for less than $50. You essentially just wrap this cuff around the client's arm, you push a simple button, and it will give you the client's blood pressure, their systolic and their diastolic measurements. The systolic number you want between 90 and 120. The diastolic, that's the number on the bottom, you want between 60 and 80. And the last measurement that you're going to want to take for your client is going to be your resting heart rate. Clients don't immediately notice that they're not huffing and puffing once they go up a flight of stairs or once they run once around the track. However, if you can put this into numbers and show them that their heart has to beat fewer times per minute to do the same amount of work, you're showing them that your training is highly efficient. The great news is you can also get the heart rate from the Omron blood pressure monitor. As always, I would suggest that you do these measurements early in the morning when your client is at rest. Now, there's a lot of variance between a good resting heart rate and your age and gender. However, in general, if your resting heart rate is somewhere in the low 60s to low 70s, you're in a very good place. So you definitely want to take these tests and make sure that your client understands the importance of their health. And then once they get their nutritional habits in order, they'll be able to knock it out of the park. Now, if you're looking for an easy way to find all this stuff, you can click on that link in the upper corner. There'll be access to an Amazon store that has all three of these available. So you can get this Omron body fat monitor for under $50. You can get the Omron blood pressure monitor for under $50. You can get this tape measure for about $5. If you're looking for a scale, if you don't already have one, you can definitely get a scale for under $50. So you can equip yourself to give the right kind of information to your client. Often they skip the doctor, so the doctor can't give them that information. They're too scared to go. So you're going to be their first line of defense against metabolic disease. And that's a huge gift that you can give to your clients, in addition to helping them with the aesthetic aspect of getting in shape. So take heed to this advice, take these measurements. If you're looking for an easy way to put this all into one place where you can deliver these measurements over to your client, I definitely recommend that you check out my FitPro calculator, as that's a journaling application which will allow you to take all these measurements for your clients. It'll make it easy to sort, understand, and send off to your client electronically without having to use paper. So I hope you found this video helpful. Stay tuned. There's going to be videos probably every week. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you have not yet. I'll be back next week. Remember, if you have any questions, hit the comment section below. And as always, remember to eat healthy, hydrate, drive safe, stress levels low, get rest. Don't slap anybody. Love your clients. They'll love you back. I'll see you all tomorrow or the next day, and you have a good one.